Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the book of Joshua, chapter 6, verses 1 through 14. The people of Israel have crossed over the Jordan. They are in Canaan. They're around the city of Jericho. And it says that Jericho, the gates were secure. No one went in or out. Jericho is snug as a bug. They don't think that anybody can topple them, because the Israelites don't have siege weapons. They don't know how to take a walled city down, right? And so the Lord comes to Joshua and gives him this ridiculous nonsense of winning this siege through prayer. He tells them to march around the city 6 times. And there will be 7 priests blowing 7 horns. 7 always being a sign of holiness or perfection. There will be priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark represents God's presence among them. But the other aspect of this is that Joshua tells the men, these armed men, you are not to give a war cry, you're not to shout in anger or yell out in any way. They are to have a solemn procession. This really is a time of prayer, of quiet prayer as they walk around the city. And imagine how ludicrous this marching worship procession looked to the defenders up on the wall, right? And I think about how the world looks at Christians and thinks how ludicrous we are in our procession, in our focus on worship, and believing that in our worship, God is going to bring about his justice. And the world thinks it's nonsense. How often do we hear that prayer isn't enough? That prayer cannot change this world. The Lord tells Joshua that they are to march around 6 times, but then on the 7th day, they're to march 7 times and then give a loud shout. Well, what's the 7th day? The 7th day is a day of rest. It's a day of worship. It's a day of honoring the Lord. And one of the things that this whole procession makes clear is this is God's victory. He's the one who is delivering Jericho into their hands. He's the king. He's the victor. And so too for us, I imagine that all of us have times where we are under siege in something in our lives. And we want to fix it. We want to do something to get it right. When perhaps what we need to be doing is marching around in prayer and looking to the Lord to bring the victory. God is active in our lives. God is active in our world. And he promises to overcome the powers and principalities that are at work against us, because they are his enemies, which we'll talk about next time when we cover the rest of chapter 6. Hey, thanks, my friends. Have a blessed day.